Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Beautiful
Hare
song.
Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is from Canto 2. Canto 2 is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. We're in chapter 9, which is entitled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. And this morning we're fortunate to have His Grace Dronacarya Prabhu from ISKCON, Philadelphia, to give a class. The text is text 10. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Hare Krishna, devotees. It's great to be with the Harrisburg family on this Monday morning. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vanchakopatarubhyascha, kripasindhuvyeva cha patitanam pavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. Start off by chanting Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashotatara Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashotatara Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki
Jai.
Amacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki
Jai.
Prem Skaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki
Yay.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki.
Yay.
Vrindavan Dham ki.
Yay.
Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki.
Yay.
Ganga Maya ki.
Yay.
Ramana Maya ki.
Yay.
Devi ki. Tulsi
Yay.
Devi ki. Shri
Yay.
Harinam Sankirtan ki.
Yay.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki.
Yay.
Nitai Gora Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
All glorious the assembled devotees.
Hari Krishna.
All glorious the assembled devotees.
Hari Krishna.
All glorious the assembled devotees.
Hari Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Sri Guru.
Jaya Guru Sri Sri Guru.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Tirtha Swamine Tinamane Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shratatmane Sri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Tinamane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirajit Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. For reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishis, the supermost human beings, unto the Goddess of Learning, Mother Saraswati, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, and rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart becomes almost completely destroyed, and devotional service to the Supreme Lord becomes established within one's heart as an irrevocable fact. The verse today, 2:9-10. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo sattvaṁ cha miśraṁ na cha kāla-vikramaḥ na yatra māyā kim utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo sattvaṁ cha miśraṁ na kāla-vikramaḥ na yatra māyā kim utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo sattvaṁ cha miśraṁ na cha kāla-vikramaḥ na yatra māyā kim utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Please chant, devotees.
Vartate yatra rajastamastayo sattvaṁ ca miśraṁ na ca kāla-vikramaḥ yata māyā kim utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Hare
pravartate yatra rajastamastayoh sattvaṁ ca miśraṁ na ca kāla-vikramaḥ na yatra māyā kim utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo sattvaṁ cha miśraṁ na cha kāla-vikramaḥ na yatra māyā utāpare harer anuvratā yatra surāsurārcitāḥ. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's go to the synonyms. Pravartate, prevail. Yatra, we're in. Rajatama, the mode of passion and ignorance. Tayoḥ, of both of them. Sattvaṁ, the mode of goodness. Cha, end. Miśraṁ, mixture. Na, never. Cha, end. Kala, time. Vikramaḥ, influence. Na, neither. Yatra, therein. Māyā, illusory external energy. Kim, what? Uta, there is. Apare, others. Harer, the personality of Godhead. Anuvratā, devotees. Yatra, wherein. Sura, by the demigods. Asura, the demons. Architaha, worshipped. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail. Nor is there any their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. Purport. The kingdom of God, or the atmosphere of the Vaikuntha nature, which is called the Tripad Vibhuti, is 3 times bigger than the material universes. And it is described here, as also in the Bhagavad Gita, in a nutshell. This universe, containing billions of stars and planets, is one of the billions of such universes clustered together within the compass of the Mahat Tattva. And all these millions and billions of universes combined together constitute only 1/4 of the magnitude of the whole creation of the Lord. There is a spiritual sky also, beyond this sky. There is a spiritual sky also. Beyond this sky are the spiritual planets under the names of the Vaikuntha. And all of them constitute 3/4 of the entire creation of the Lord. God's creations are always innumerable. Even the leaves of a tree cannot be counted by a man, nor can the hairs on his head. However, foolish men are puffed up with the idea of becoming God himself. Though unable to create a hair on their own bodies, man may discover so many wonderful vehicles of journey. But even if he reaches the moon by his much advertised spacecraft, he cannot remain there. The sane man, therefore, without being puffed up, as if he were the God of the universe, the sane man, therefore, without being puffed up, as if he were the God of the universe, abides by the instructions of Vedic literature, the easiest way to acquire knowledge in transcendence. So let us know, through the authority of the Srimad Bhagavatam, of the nature and constitution of the transcendental world beyond the material sky. In that sky, the material qualities, especially the mode of ignorance and passion, are completely absent. The mode of ignorance influences the living entity to the habit of lust and hankering. And this means in the Vaikuntha lokas, the living entities are free from these two things. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahma-bhuta stage of life, one becomes free from the hankering and lamentation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are all Brahma-bhuta living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures who are all compact in hankering and lamentation. When one is not in the modes of ignorance and passion, one is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness in the material world. Goodness in the material world also at times becomes contaminated by the touches of passion and ignorance. In the Vaikuntha Loka, it is unalloyed goodness only. The whole situation there is one of freedom from the illusory manifestation of the external energy. Although illusory energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, illusory energy is differentiated from the Lord. The illusory energy is not, however, false, as claimed by the monist philosophers. The rope accepted as a snake may be an illusion to a particular person, but the rope is a fact, and the snake is also a fact. The illusion of water on a hot desert may be the illusion for an ignorant animal searching for water in the desert, but the desert and the water are actual facts. Therefore, the material creation of the Lord may be an illusion to the non-devotee, but to a devotee, even the material creation of the Lord is a fact, as the manifestation of his external energy. But this energy of the Lord is not all. The Lord has his internal energy also, which is another creation known to be the Vaikuntha Lokas, where there is no ignorance, no passion, no illusion, and no past and present. With a poor fund of knowledge, one may be unable to understand the existence of such things as the Vaikuntha atmosphere, but that does not nullify its existence. The spacecraft cannot reach these planets. That the spacecraft cannot reach these planets does not mean that there is no such planets, for they are described in the revealed scriptures. As quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, we can know from the Narada Pancharatra that the transcendental world, or the Vaikuntha atmosphere, is enriched with transcendental qualities. These transcendental qualities, as revealed through the devotional service of the Lord, are distinct from mundane qualities of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Such qualities are not attainable by the non-devotee class of men. In the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda, it is stated that beyond the 1/4 part of God's creation is 3/4 manifestation. The marginal line between the material manifestation and the spiritual manifestation is the Viraja River. And beyond the Viraja River, which is a transcendental current flowing from the perspiration of the body of the Lord, is the 3/4 manifestation of God's creation. This part is eternal, everlasting, without deterioration, and unlimited. And it contains the highest perfectional stage of living conditions. In the Sankhya Kumudi, it is stated that unalloyed goodness or transcendence is just opposite to the material modes. All living entities there are eternally associated without any break. And the Lord is the chief and prime entity. In the Agama Puranas, also, the transcendental abode is described as follows. The associated members there are free to go everywhere within the creation of the Lord. And there is no limit to such creation, particularly in the region of the three-fourths magnitude. Since the nature of the region is unlimited, there is no history of such association, nor is there end of it. The conclusion may be drawn that because of the complete absence of mundane qualities of ignorance and passion, there is no question of creation nor annihilation. In the material world, everything is created and everything is annihilated, and the duration of life between the creation and annihilation is temporary. In the transcendental realm, there is no creation and no destruction, and thus the duration of life is eternal and unlimited. In other words, everything in the transcendental world is everlasting, full of knowledge and bliss, and without deterioration. Since there is no deterioration, there is no past, present, and future in the estimation of time. It is clearly stated in the verse that the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The whole material existence is manifested by actions and reactions of elements, which make the influence of time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future. There is no such actions and reactions of cause and effect there. So the cycle of birth, growth, existence, transformations, deterioration, and annihilation, the six material changes, are not existent there. It is the unalloyed manifestation of the energy of the Lord, without illusion, as experienced here in the material world. The whole Vaikuntha existence proclaims that everyone there is a follower of the Lord. The Lord is the chief leader there, without any competition for leadership. And the people in general are all followers of the Lord. It is confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader, and all other living entities are subordinate to him. For only the Lord satisfies all the needs of all other living entities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What a wonderful purport that Srila Prabhupada gave us there. Om Agyanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Translation once again. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. This was a very extensive purport by His Divine Grace. And by His Divine Grace, we are able to have some insight into the qualities of the Vaikuntha Lokas, which are the spiritual planets. Srila Prabhupada made it very clear in this purport that it's actually impossible for us to understand this material nature, this material world in which we are currently living in. It is described as 1/4 of the spiritual manifestation. And within this 1/4 that we're currently living in, we only know a very, very small fraction of it. Another very small fraction that we know very little about that very small fraction. At one point in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he mentions that, billions, millions and billions. Oh, here it is. It says, this universe containing billions of stars and planets is one of the billions of such universes clustered together within the compass of the Mahatattva, which is material manifestation. So this goes beyond the mind's imagination. And there are certain things that we have to accept, especially hearing from the authority of the Vedas, that go beyond our material capacity. Even though the mind is very vast and very fast and can jump from one topic to another and can go from one location to another, this is beyond the capacity of the mind. And if what is 1/4 of the entirety of the Lord's creation is so far beyond our capacity, what to speak of the 3/4 part, which is the spiritual world. So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned here, let us not become puffed up by our material accomplishments, because they are extremely small in any estimation that we can make. Can we count the number of hairs on our head? Can we count the number of leaves on a tree? So what to speak of the millions and billions of stars within this universe? And what to speak of the millions and billions of universes that each contain millions and billions of stars and planets, in which we reside on one planet. And we can't even count the number of leaves on one tree on one of those planets. What to speak of the number of hairs on our one body, in which there are millions and billions of living beings on each of one of those planets. So that is the beginning part of this purport, is let us separate ourselves from this concept that we'll be able to understand through our material minds and intellect the extent of this material creation, what to speak of the spiritual creation. Now, this material creation is run by these material modes of nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. And stated here that in the personal abode of the Lord, these modes are absent. In the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna about why is one impelled to sinful reactions? And Krishna responds in the 37th verse. He says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born in contact with the material mode of passion and is later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, and the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. And when the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire." And this lust is when the living entity, the soul's eternal love for Krishna, it gets transformed into lust due to the material mode of passion. When lust becomes unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. And actually one begins to degrade into the mode of ignorance. This all results when the living entity misuses their free will, the minute independence, to try to enjoy the Lord's creation. One of the characteristics given to us in this purport, that in the spiritual world, everybody follows the leadership of the Lord. There's no competition for becoming the leader. And what a difference that is from here in the material world, where everybody wants to become the Lord of their own situation. There's competition for leadership everywhere. People generally don't want to be followers. In the spiritual world, everybody is in perfect alignment with their eternal identity as the Lord's servant. And because that desire to be the Lord themselves comes about in their misuse of our independence, we have a world where competition is everywhere. There's competition for position, there's competition for recognition, there's competition for wealth, fame, there's competition for who has the most knowledge, there's competition to try to advance technology. Whenever somebody comes into a leadership position to serve, there's always competition. This mood of competition is a result of the material modes of passion and ignorance. As soon as one assumes some level of importance, the people around them, all of a sudden, some people follow, and a lot of times they follow because they want some benefit out of it, some kickback, some give back. And then there's those that resist or compete against the leadership in order to attain it themselves. We should understand that this is the unnatural state of the Lord's creation. And it is only there for us to be able to exhibit our free will. Yesterday, we were celebrating Dussehra. Even though it was last Thursday, we celebrated it on Sunday at our Sunday feast. And we were talking about the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra when he fought with Ravana, and how Ravana, he captured and stole away Sita Devi. And how actually it is impossible, as taught to us by Lord Chaitanya when he read in the Kurma Purana when he was traveling South India. He met a Brahmin, a bhakta of Lord Ramchandra, and the bhakta, he was weeping that how is it possible that Sita had been stolen by this demon Ravana? How could this happen? And Lord Chaitanya consoled him, and he told him that, and he referenced from the Kurma Purana that actually Sita had never been truly taken by Ravana. That actually, when Ravana touched her, it was a māyā Sita, an illusory Sita that he had gotten. And the real Sita actually never separates from the Supreme Lord. In the same way, the internal potency, who is a manifestation of Sita Devi, never leaves the Supreme Lord. Maybe for the purpose of Leela, it may appear that way to us. But in truth, in tattva, they are inseparable. So how does that work, and how do we understand this, and how does that connect to this particular understanding between the spiritual world and the material world? We hear that the Lord cannot be approached by any material quality. It is not by our vast intellect that we can approach the Lord and understand him or his creation. It is not by our strength, as so many of the demons, the great demons in our history have shown. They've conquered the demigods, they've conquered the heavens and the hells and all the material planets. In fact, they almost conquered time in the form of trying to become immortal. But even with that, they couldn't approach the Supreme Lord. Great yogis, through austerity in the yoga practice, they still can't approach the Lord. Great scientists that Srila Prabhupada brings out in this purport, they're using their spacecraft to try to they can't even go and sustain themselves on another planet. And they never, no matter how far they take their understanding, the Lord will remain aloof to them, because you can't approach the Lord through material facility. So in the same way, whenever we try to enjoy the spiritual nature of the Lord puts us into an illusory state of being, because it just can't happen. In the same way Ravana tried to enjoy Sita, he couldn't. He was material, and he's trying to enjoy the spiritual. His consciousness was full of lust. So the only thing that he could enjoy is an illusion of what is real. And that is our situation here in this material world. The illusion is not the actual material energy. The illusion is our believing that I am this body. These are my true surroundings. And that this experience that I'm undergoing is actually who I am. The illusion is the identity that we have with material nature. And that's why Srila Prabhupada brings up in this purport that we shouldn't consider this world to be false. This material world is temporary, and it actually exists. Just like one may mistaken a mirage in the desert as a water, or as a rope in the dark as a snake. But when the light is cut on, you can actually see it's actually a rope. But snakes do exist. And even though the mirage in the desert may not exist, water does exist. So the illusion is our consciousness gets put under this illusion because we try to enjoy what is actually belongs to the Lord. So goodness, passion, ignorance. Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita that we have to transcend this. We'll find a description of this in the 14th chapter. And then as we get into the 17th and 18th, beginning of the 18th chapters as well, the modes of material nature are described. And I'll read a little bit on them real quickly. That the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned to a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. And because the embodied living entity is bound to material fruit, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruit of actions. And the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, and they bind the conditioned soul. So the conditioned soul is bound in this world by gunas. Gunas are qualities. Another word for guna is rope. And these three modes of nature, they bind us with the ropes of these material qualities and force us to act in ways of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Krishna tells us, Arjuna, that sometimes the mode of goodness is stronger than ignorance and passion. Sometimes ignorance is superior, and sometimes passion is superior. These can be felt even during different times of the day. They can be felt during our different associations. They can be felt when we receive different types of news and how we react to them. But surely, we're bound by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, one may say, well, I understand how the mode of passion and ignorance, they're extremely harmful. But what is wrong with the mode of goodness? Because after all, the mode of goodness conditions one. It's pure, but it conditions one to knowledge, a sense of happiness. It's illuminating. Isn't that what we want? The mode of goodness is interesting because it is the stepping stone within the material conditions by which one can actually begin to see things as they are. in true knowledge. They can see the influences of passion, they can see the influences of ignorance, and they can see the illusory condition of this world. But yet the mode of goodness is still a quality of material nature. And Krishna calls us to be able to transcend even goodness. Now, this world, if we just rose to the platform of goodness and out of ignorance and passion, this world would be transformed. The policy in which this world is running under passion and ignorance. There's very little goodness. So in comparison, goodness actually seems like a very, something that we should be trying to promote and trying to introduce. A lot of the social welfare and a lot of the agendas put forth in order to bring about change in this world, these are in the mode of goodness. It's with the intention of bringing people together in harmony, in unity, to give everybody a fair chance, to provide everybody with equal opportunities. But because goodness is still a quality that's here in this material world, it has every opportunity to become contaminated with passion and ignorance. And thus we see even the agendas with the best intentions that start off in the mode of goodness, they soon become corrupt with politics. They soon become corrupt with personal ambition. Because unless the soul becomes purified of this desire to be the center, we have every chance to fall back into this material situation in which goodness, passions, and ignorance will bind us to this world. Sometimes in goodness, and an example of this is sometimes in goodness, a person becomes proud. They become proud of knowledge. They become proud that they're actually not in passion and ignorance. Look at me. I'm not affected by these things. Look at these poor living beings. We should do something for them. They're driven by their senses, lust and greed. Look how angry they are. Look how hard they're working. But look at me. I know so much. I'm different than them. And as soon as pride enters into the equation, passion and ignorance will soon follow. So Krishna tells Arjuna at the end of the 14th chapter, he says, one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. This level of Brahman, the Brahmabhuta stage, is the quality of the spiritual world. There's no hankering, there's no lamenting, as there is here in the material world. Instead, the focus is on doing devotional service to Krishna. Krishna is the center, and all our activities are centered around him. There are no expectations to be set, because our only expectation is that we please Krishna with our activities. It is not, if I please you, Krishna, then I get this in return. Those expectations don't exist. There's no lamenting, there's no hankering. And when we become free from these two conditions, we become free to serve. The natural state of the living being is that we are nitya siddha, Krishna prema, sadakabonai. That pure love of God resides within the heart of every living being. This verse was given to us by Lord Chaitanya in the Madhya Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, 22nd chapter. Nitya siddha Krishna prema sadhya kabonai, shravanadi sudachite kara odaya. That this eternal love, which has become covered over by lust, can be transformed back into love when the heart becomes purified. And it can't be purified by a material process. It's covered by shravanadi sudachite kara odai, by the hearing and chanting about the Lord's holy name and qualities. Our love for Krishna naturally awakens. And then we can return back to the spiritual world, our eternal home, our natural place. Thank you very much for your time and listening very carefully. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. If you have any questions or contributions or comments, we can do that for the next few minutes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a very nice lecture. The purport is quite long and
Yeah.
quite deep, also talking about the spiritual world, the way it is, and the modes being absent there. And you touched on it quite a bit. And bringing a reference from Bhagavad Gita to support it also. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have a question or a comment or some takeaway that you would like to bring up, then we can have a nice discussion about it. So please unmute yourself if you have any question or comment and go for it. Hare Krishna. Whatever's on your mind. Hare Krishna. So maybe I'll just start off a little bit. The purport was very, very, I just mentioned it's really inviting. And if you can comment a little bit on this Tripad Vibhuti, and then that's the spiritual, the three-fourths of the creation. Sometimes they say it's unlimited planets. And one time I was asked the question, if material world is 1/4, spiritual world is 3/4, and they say it's unlimited, how can they come up with a fraction when there's 1/4, 3/4, 1/4 unlimited, 3/4 unlimited? And I think you can comment on it if you want. Prabhupada talked about the hairs on one body we can't count. So it looks like it's 1/4, 3/4, but unlimited to us only because we can never be able to count ourselves. Even giving that example that our own hair on the bodies we can't count, the leaves of a tree we can't count, but we see there's one tree. We can say that's that. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking that way, and I don't know whether you're thinking the same lines as I am, but if you can comment on it a little bit, that would be nice. Yeah.
I remember actually when I was reading that last night, I was reminded of a class you gave in Philadelphia about this, and I'm sure it may have come up at another time, but you spoke about this because you're right. Infinity plus infinity is still infinity. Yeah. Right? So what is 1/4 of infinity? It's still infinity. What is 3/4 of infinity? It's still infinity. So a lot of these things are inconceivable for our minds. But if I recall, the answer that you gave is like, you look, and you can actually, maybe you should speak on it, but like you mentioned about the tree, you can look at a tree and say it's unlimited, unlimited number of leaves. You can't count them. But you can say, but when looking at the tree, you can say that there's, this part of the tree and that part of the tree. There's
Yeah.
the east part of the tree, the west part of the tree. There's the part of the tree on the Viraja River, and there's the other part of the tree on the other side of the Viraja River. And that part of the one there is, even though there's no way to measure it, one side,
Yeah.
from the perspective that Krishna is looking at it,
Yeah.
is much more vast than the other, even though we'll never be able to wrap our heads around that side. I mean, you look at the hairs on the head, you can say, well, okay, this is the right side of the head, the left side of the head, this is 3/4 of the head, that's 1/4 of the head. Well, we'll still never be able to count them all or be part of it. So the millions and billions of stars in this one universe, this may only be 1/4 of it, but we'll still never be able to get to conquer it.
So then
With
it
understanding.
seems like, yeah, it seems like the limitation is on us.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are so limited. And that's what Papa keeps saying, your teeny brain, your teeny, it means tiny, but he can't say your teeny little brain, you can't. And then he used the frog philosophy also. And the frog's children went out of the well and saw the ocean and came back and told their parent there's a big body of water, and this parent could not figure it out. Said, how, about twice the size of my well? Or 3 times, or maybe 10 times? The teacher said, no, it's way more than that. So that's unlimited then. Unlimited. The children were trying to explain unlimited. We would never be able to get it. There are oceans in this particular planet, but what's the width of the ocean? Nobody knows. It's not easy to measure.
Right.
And even sometimes I find it interesting too, because the water bodies on this earth, this one planet, some of it, if you look at the geography of it, they're connected. Some of it are connected. So how we get to the Atlantic Ocean? Where's the border?
Yeah.
I start laughing about that too. So we are imagining a lot of things as human beings, really. I mean, so anyway, that's just my comment on this. But yeah, so the limitation is on us. Is we are the ones that are limited. That's why we can't, so the scriptures have made it simpler for us to kind of go along with things, even though we are very limited in perception, by just saying they are unlimited, and you leave it. And then they give you can't count the hairs in your head, but there's a number of finite hairs in your head, but you can't count them. So that's on us. That's on us. It's our limitation. It seems like the more I think about it. Hare Krishna.
That's a great point. Thank you, Prabhu. The limitation is on us.
Yeah.
And I think the point here is that whatever curiosities we have, whatever tendencies we have, we should try to transform them into serving Krishna. Now, we may have a particular service where we're brought up with a particular mind. Our karma may be so that we have an inclination toward such things. And we can study these things for our advancement in devotional life and to try to present the Vedic perspective and explain things to those. But that's not everybody's service. It's a very, very few people in this world will have that service. For the rest of us, we shouldn't necessarily get consumed in wasting our time in trying to figure these things out. We'll only become baffled. Spend our time and energy in trying to advance our spiritual lives and spreading the movement of Lord Chaitanya. Trying to give Krishna consciousness to others. Make an impact in the world by trying to transform people's hearts. Try to pull them out of passion and ignorance. Elevate them at least into the platform of goodness, so that they can then begin to receive spiritual knowledge.
Thank you. That's better use of time. That's why personally, I don't, especially even though we commented here and we're going a little back and forth. But that's personally the reason why I don't care about these scientists. 'Cause they still, 'cause I've been in there, I've been there with them, doctorate program, research, and some of them that are world's authority and so on and so on and so. I've been actually with them personally. But they're smart, but they do a lot of assuming left and right. And, about practically everything that they work on, they assume. Assumptions. And sometimes, a good bit of the time, the assumptions are not right. And so why waste time with people who are uh, assuming things and don't know the facts? You go to the revealed scriptures and tell you like it is. That's that's why I prefer this to their assumptions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That's just a comment. Yeah. Any other comments? We passed the hour, but just any final comments or questions? If you have time, this is for the buddies. Please read over this purport again because there's a lot there. A lot there that you can have some understanding. Who have a question, there's a little bit of uncertainty here as to the date of Kartik. When are we having Kartik? Is it today or tomorrow that we start?
So in Philadelphia, we start today.
Okay.
According to the calendar that we use for our event planning for spiritual holidays, it told us that it was started on Monday.
Okay.
Today was the Purnima. But I know astrologically, as you move east, west, north, south, it could be different. Maybe Tuesday, other places. So we got this question yesterday, but yeah, today begins the holy month of Kartik.
Yeah.
For us in Philadelphia. Yeah.
I think Harrisburg too is the same. I know my daughter yesterday, she prepared the temple for Kartik, but at that point, somebody else was saying, isn't it supposed to be Tuesday? maybe it's Tuesday in India because it is going to be Tuesday when it's Monday for us here.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, just checking.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, and at the very worst, we get an extra day to worship Lord Damodar, right? So you can't beat that.
Can't beat that. Yeah, exactly.
So a very happy and blessed Kartik to everybody. It's a very special month. We can take this month as an opportunity to practice some of these things that we hear about and read about. We feel sometimes, well, I just don't have time for it. Kartik is meant as a time of reflection, slow down a little bit, just focus on your spiritual life. 1 month out of the year, just like we get Ekadasi, one or 2 days a month. We can, this 1 month of the year, let's chant a little bit more, serve a little bit more, pay more attention to our spiritual lives. Everything will be there come the middle of November. The material world's not going to stop. Those things will be there, but we can slow down a little bit. And if we make this, take on this austerity, do more of austerity in the sense that we're putting other things down. It may be unnatural, but we do that for Krishna. The results during this month are immeasurable in our spiritual life.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, boys, for coming on. And as you heard Dronacarya, Prabhu advice all of us, slow down a little bit, be more introspective, and take advantage of this particular month, which is very, very, very auspicious. Services that we do get multiplied quite a bit in terms of the benefits. So come to the temple in the evening. We're having Damdarastakam in the temple. So please come and join as many days as you can. Adjust your work schedule and or what you do afterwards. Make it to the temple. And let's all chant Damdarastakam. for this Kartik Jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Mhm.